JQ, okay? jQuery version, okay? All right, so then finish. All right. So then we copy the code, okay? All right. So we copy source code here. Just copy to the project directly. So let me get the code here. All right. So the code, so we just don't need this NetBeans project. So this one I deleted. Then everything else, I just do the copy. Okay, all right. Yeah, so the code is there. Now I run the project. But I need to start two servers, before I run the project. All right. Apache first. MySQL next. All right, so ready, two servers ready. Then I run this, All right. User interface. Run. Oh, yeah, where is the run? Yeah, it's file. Yeah, I need to go to project. Yeah, sorry. In the project, I can run it. All right. Here, I can run it. Yeah, so you see it. Yeah, so all the features the same. Yeah, here, I have this show max. So last time, I didn't enable it. So here, I added this AJAX feature. So the show max, you can see, it's a simple feature. We just want to practice AJAX. So I may leave it to you, okay? I may leave it to you. Or, because for AJAX, we have two versions. One regular version, one jQuery version. So if I do one regular version or jQuery version, then you do the other version. Okay, so you need to do one of the two versions. So talking about, I will explain this technology. After this demo, I explain AJAX. Then I want to show you the transcript part. Transcript. The transcript, I didn't put a link here, so we need to go back to here, look at this file. I call it display. DISP, DISP transcript. So I give this file to you so you can run it, display the transcript. Run. See? Yeah, so that's the format, following the format for the transcript. So the student name, so for each student, you need to, print the course, grade, the information. So you need to get the data from several tables. So the query, how to organize the data, a little complicated. So this feature, relatively complicated. So let me explain this feature first. Because when you study the code, it may not be very easy to understand this part. So first, let me explain this code. Then I talk about AJAX. So let's look at the code first. let me open. Yeah, so here. Yeah, all right. So the code, yeah. How hard? Yeah, maybe a little hard to. So can I make it larger? Can I make it larger? Oh no. Yeah. Right. Yeah. How to make it larger? Source. Code. Yeah. Let me see. Do I have anything here I can make it large? Oh, yeah, probably. Another way I can do, I copy. Yeah. Copy and paste here and see if I can make it larger. So here it looks a little larger. Yeah, so much larger, right? Yeah. Okay. The code here. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So here, if you look at here, the first part, database connection, so that's easy to understand, okay? So that's pretty much standard. Yeah. And so we just copy paste. After that, then we need to look at the, prepare the data for the transcript. Yeah. So we need to switch back and forth and look at the interface. So the interface, not the interface, the page structure. The page structure here, it's a table. It is just a table. But there is a header part. Table, there is a header part. So we need to do the header part first. The header part, you can see basically 2 rows, but the first column span 2 rows. Rows span 2. Yeah, so here, in our code, we need to do row span. Look at this line. So here, this is the table. Yeah, so this is the table, the header part. Yeah, 2 rows, but the first row, the first cell, header, we need to have row span 2, okay? Row span equals 2. So you see row span 2, yeah, here. Yeah, so this cell occupies 2 rows, row span 2, all right. Then second, column span, col span 5, yeah, col span 5. So the next column, this one covers 5 columns, okay? 5 columns. Yeah. So you see that structure, okay? So the second one, because the first column already covered by the first row, so the remaining columns, there are 5 columns. Yeah. All right, so that's the header part. After that, we need to prepare our data, okay? So the data, so look at this. Now we focus on the data part. So this data part, first you can see we need to list students, right? So first we need to retrieve all the students. Second round, for each student, we need to retrieve its course grade information and display after that student. Okay, that's the structure. All right. So then here, let's look at our first query. Transcript R. So here you can see the row, okay? Yeah, transcript, this R representing row. Yeah. So each row, outer structure. So here we are working on outer structure. So it's a nested structure. Yeah. So we need to use nested for loops. Yeah. Outer for loop, inner for loop. For the outer for loop, we use student names as the outer for loop. So inner for loop, each student, we need to retrieve the course information. Yeah. So that structure, okay? Let's look at the outer for loop. Outer for loop, the query, yeah, so select all students, okay? Yeah, so all students, and count the number of rows. Yeah, because we need this number of rows of the query result. That corresponds to number of students. Yeah. So we need, because when we run the for loop, we need to know the number of students, right? Yeah, so we need to know number of students. So we need this $count variable. Then we prepare the table, okay? The header part, we already did header part. Now the data part. Yeah, so the remaining, so the data part. Yeah, so that's the, yeah. So for the data part, all right, then $row, so this, every time we retrieve one row from the transcript, one row corresponds to one student. The information of that particular student, yeah, just the one student, okay, all right. So then we retrieve the student name, yeah, from that row. So we want to display that student name, okay, all right. Then the student number, we need to get a student number because later when we want to retrieve the course information, we need to use the student number, okay, all right. Then we need to prepare for the inner for loop. Inner for loop, okay, all right. So for the inner for loop, look at another query statement. Yeah. Query trans, this query statement. Yeah, this is a little complicated. So let's understand this query statement. Select course underscore number, grade, semester, year, S dot selection identifier from section table. Section table as S. Grade underscore record table as G. All right. Yeah. So we need to join these two tables. These two tables, where the join condition, okay, S dot section underscore identifier equals G dot section underscore identifier. And then, G dot, student name, all right. So then select, this is the select condition, okay, select condition. G dot student underscore number equals, so this variable, we have the value of this variable, student underscore number, so then you get the student transcript information. All right, but that one, for each student, there are multiple courses, so you have multiple rows, so you need to display. So go back to the page. Here, we are working on each student role. Each student role. Okay. So one row, that's the student role. But in the table, that student, we need to do the row span of the number of courses here. How many courses? We need to get that number. So we need to do row span on the number of courses. Okay. So let's Let's look at that, okay? So we need to get that row number. So $count underscore rows, we do another, so here another, so this function, here, this is a function, okay? MySQL I underscore number of rows. So this function, MySQL function, give us, we want to get a number of rows from this query, here, this query, okay? So we do another, so this query result. Student T, this variable contains the query result. So the number of rows. Row 2, so then the data, right? So this query, we need to get a query data, fetch array. So this one, all right. Then we display. So here we display the header part. I think the header part of the table. So look at here, okay? All right. So we display, all right. We display, all right. So we display the data, right? So we display the data. All right. So here. All right. Row. Then row span, so number of rows, the student name, okay? So after that, here, actually, so if you look at that, it looks like I display the data twice, but actually because in order to consider the structure, so when I display the first row, I just display the also first row of the data, then the remaining rows. So here, in the inner for loop, I display twice. The first time the top row, the top course, then the second time remaining courses using a for loop. Because the first time top row, we need to display together with the student name. So when you read the code, so you may ask, so why we display twice? Because of the structure, the special table structure. So we want to, try to make the structure right. So we split into two parts. All right. So these rows, the top row, so we display together with the student name. The student name has a row span. So then the other fields just occupy one row. Okay. All right. So then next, the remaining rows, we need to use a for loop to display. Okay? So you can see my I index starting from 1, not 0. From 1, not 0. Because the zero case, I already used the 0 data, already I use here. Row 2, because that's the first row. First row, the index row number, it's 0. All right. So here, the next time, because every time we update this row 2, every time we display the next row, so we do the fetch function another time. So then we display row by row in the inner for loop. Okay. All right. So that is for the current student. Then because we have outer while loop. So after the first student, our outer while loop move to the next student. Because this query this query give us the next student in the row, in the transcript query result row. Yeah. So then the next student, we display second student information and so on. Okay, all right. Yeah, so this structure, oh yeah, so not that, yeah. So here, yeah, yeah. So after you understand the, the basic structure, then, you can see that's the way, so we display our query data, okay? So inner for loop, outer for loop, we need to do two queries. Yeah. So here, because just to give you some experience. Yeah. So after you know how to do the basic queries, so when you develop real-world applications, here this just as an example of the real-world applications. Yeah. Sometimes you need to do your queries in a structured way. Okay? Yeah. Inner structure, outer structure. Yeah. So here, this transcript gives you a little harder case, yeah, because most of our queries are straightforward. Right? So one query statement, you get a result, then you display. Okay? Yeah, that's the 80, 90 something %. You get a straightforward query result to display. Yeah. But that's not enough. Sometimes you need to do relatively a little more complex queries. Yeah. Yeah. Here, this query, we do not treat as very too much complex. Yeah. Just slightly a little more complex than usual queries, usual straightforward queries. Okay, yeah, yeah. So here, hopefully, so you can handle the queries like this. Okay, yeah. So I hope after you study this example, in the real world situations, you can write the code dealing with the queries like this. Okay, yeah, not too complicated. Yeah, yeah, because based on our course, we cover many queries harder than this one. Okay, yeah. So if we put this query in our query question, so we can do much harder queries than this one. Yeah. So here, just a simple example. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah. So I think I just explained this one like this. Yeah, because I do not need to cut a screenshot and write explanation. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, for this feature. Yeah. All right. Next, I want to explain the AJAX in general. Yeah. The background technology information for the AJAX. So then I show you a few examples. Yeah. So then in your project, leave a few features for you to practice. Yeah. A few features for you to practice. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, but I need to switch my computer, so I need to use another computer to explain the AJAX. Yeah. Yeah, because one computer, sometimes when I do the PowerPoint presentation, it may freeze. Yeah. So I got this problem a few times. So I may like to switch to another computer. So, yeah. All right, so here I share screen from another computer. Okay? All right. Yeah. So from this computer, this one, I do PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. yeah, actually, I need to, yeah, I need to find it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. I need to get a, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another thing. Because I haven't posted part B, 10 query questions. I will post tonight. Okay, 10 questions for part B. Yeah, yeah. So here, yeah. So you know, yeah. So the query questions, part B, tonight. So then, yeah, because our final is on Monday next week, just 1 week from today. So that means we do not have much time left. Yeah. So when we prepare for the final, so our homework assignment number 3, so you treat as the preparation for your final. Okay. Yeah. So those 10 questions, the time, if I post today, so I set deadline Saturday, but I give you 1 day grace period, Sunday. Yeah. Yeah. So for some students, if you can turn in by Saturday, so I can start grading. Yeah. So then 1 day grace period. A few students probably they need to use Sunday, so as you know in that grace period. So no problem. Yeah. But I can do grading on those students who do not use the grace period. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. But after that, Monday, so I will post the answer. Yeah. But I try to do the grading as much as I can. Yeah. So before your final. Yeah. All right. So here, let me explain this AJAX technology. All right. The background here. Yeah. First, you know, the simple background of this technology. First, it's a very useful technology. Okay. And it's not a new technology. So it's a pretty old technology. Yeah. So if you look at the history a little bit, it was created in beginning of the century, you know, 2000, early 2000 times. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, 2000. 01, 02, you know, so pretty much that time, more than 20 years ago. So this technology was created more than 20 years ago. Yeah. All right. So the name, so from the name, so you can see, so what's the, how to coin this name. Yeah. The first A, asynchronous. The first A called asynchronous. Let me run the slideshow here. Yeah. Slideshow. Yeah. Yeah. Change the, oh, sorry. All right. Yeah. All right. First, this A, it's asynchronous. Asynchronous. So you know the meaning, right? Yeah. So, you know. Yeah. So I will explain. So why asynchronous? Not synchronous. You know synchronous. Yeah. You know. Two things. You know, sync. Right. Sync. So that, you know, in the same pace. Okay, two things working at two different sides, but they move with the same pace. That's the synchronous. Asynchronous, just the opposite. Okay, the two things work on two sides, but with different paces. Okay, different. So one can move faster, another slower, but they're correlated. Those two things are correlated. Yeah. I will explain why asynchronous is better here than synchronous way. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Later. Okay. All right. So then J, JavaScript. That J, yeah, because this technology, the main part of this technology is JavaScript. So that second J represents. Then next A, and so this A, because the creator just want to use existing name, AJAX existing name, right? Yeah, so that person just want to use the existing name to coin this technology. So that A is and, so no other meaning, specific meaning. The last X, XML. We know XML, so it's a special language to that language mainly is used to store, organize the data. So XML is used to store, organize the data. Okay? Yeah. So how to store organized data using tags. Okay? Using tags. Yeah. And the data stored using those tags is in the tree structure. Okay? Yeah. But the XML, this language very old, and it's too complicated. So although it's useful, it's very powerful. It can store the data with very complicated structures, but the biggest problem of this language is too complicated. For that reason, now it is rarely used. Okay? Yeah. So the programmers, they do not like to use XML. Yeah. The programmers, they don't want to use XML. Okay? So now you won't see a lot of usages of XML. Okay? So currently, a better data representation languages, transmitting languages used, that's the JSON, okay? Replacing the AJAX, JSON. Okay, yeah. JavaScript object, so JSON, a special. So that structure much simpler, okay? So the JSON structure straightforward. Basically, the name-value pair type. Yeah. Name and a value. Name and a value. Okay? So you use that structure. Okay? So you do not use the tree, complicated tree structure. Okay? Yeah. Tree, but because you need to navigate. In the tree, that's too complicated. Yeah. Here, you just go name, value. Each element is a name and a value. And you can store array of elements. Yeah. So each element could be another array. So sometimes you can use JSON to store a relatively complicated structure, but not too complicated. Okay? So that's why currently the JSON is very popular. Okay? So most of the data storage format and transmitting format. Yeah. So we also use JSON to send structured data on internet. Yeah. All right. But at that time, XML. So at the beginning, AJAX time, XML is used. Yeah. All right, so that's the, the name of this technology. Then, why it is useful? Why after 20-something years it is still useful? Yeah. Because the benefit of this technology is very big. Yeah. First, it's a simple technology. So if we learn, we can learn, very fast. Yeah. Just a few examples, so we can learn how to use. Yeah. But the benefit is big. Yeah. So what's that benefit? Yeah. If you use AJAX, you can load your data in a very fast way. Yeah. Comparing with the non-AJAX way. AJAX way, non-AJAX way, the AJAX way is much faster and more convenient to use. Yeah. So here, let me explain this point. Yeah. So why AJAX is faster and more convenient to use. Yeah. All right. Yeah. First, let me explain these 3 points here. Okay. Yeah. First point, read data from a web server after the page has loaded. Yeah. All right, so here, let's consider a typical situation. One web page is loaded into a web browser. Okay, yeah, so we know loaded into a web browser. Yeah, all right. Yeah. So then, in order to think about when we do interaction with the users, so the users need to do some actions on the page. Then our page, we need to give the response to the users. Okay? Yeah. So when we give the response to the users, we may need to modify the page, right? Yeah. Because based on the user's actions, we may need to change parts of the page. Yeah. So based on the user's action, we may need to, change parts of the page. Okay? Yeah. So here the question is, when you change parts of the page, do you need to reload the page? Reload the page? Yeah. Before AJAX technology was available, you need to reload the page. Every time when you change the content of the page, yeah. Yeah. Even small portion of the content, you need to reload the page. Yeah. But that whole thing, relatively slow. Yeah. Because sometimes your page could be very large. Sometimes your page may contain many pictures. We know when we load a page with many pictures, it is relatively slow. Yeah. But you do not need to change those pictures. You just change data a few places. Yeah. So, but if you use the old technology, reload the whole page, waiting time too long. Yeah. That's old one. Yeah. So now, with AJAX technology, you only need to modify the part that you want to change. You do not, if other parts you do not need to change, keep them. Okay? And you do not reload the whole page. You only modify the necessary parts. Yeah. So that's the idea. So here, the second point. Update a web page without loading the page. Yeah. So you may ask, how can you do that? How can you update a web page without reloading the whole page? Yes, you can, by JavaScript functions. Yeah. So you call JavaScript function, your JavaScript function change the content of a few elements. Yeah. So here the idea is very simple. Yeah. Yeah. So use the JavaScript functions Okay? To change the content of a few elements. Okay? Yeah. Without reloading the page. That's simple. Okay? In JavaScript, we can change the content, right? Yeah? So we can change the content. All right? Remember dot, we used, if you look at the code, dot inner HTML. When we use, so first we need to have that object, okay? So here, we need to get object, okay? The object dot inner HTML equals then the content. In this example, you can find it. In my sample project code, you can find how to change the content. Okay? Yeah. So you can, yeah. All right. Yeah. Send data to web server in the background. Now, important feature is you can do data communication behind the scene. Okay? Yeah. So here, so you have your page, so your web page here. Okay? All right. So here the server, web server, you need to do data communication between your page and the server, but you can do that communication directly. Okay? Directly. So it's using JavaScript function, JS function. JS function. So you can, you can do that data communication. All right. So then let me explain asynchronous. Yeah. Yeah. So why asynchronous is better? Yeah. Because, so think about the situation here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Because when we use JavaScript function to send the data to the server-side program, the server-side program need to do the data processing, right? Yeah. But when the server-side program do the data processing, sometimes the processing may take relatively long time, right? Sometimes, the processing time could be long, okay? Long, let's say a few seconds. A few seconds, that long. All right. Now, if you use the synchronous way, synchronous, what does that mean? Yeah. So when the user entered input, type, enter some data, then click enter, enter, the data is sent to the server side, and the server side needs a few seconds to do processing if it's synchronous. Then, because the user side, server side, if the sync way, when the program needs a few seconds at the server side, then the user side cannot do anything because it's a sync, okay? That side need to wait a few seconds. The user side, you also need to wait a few seconds. Only when the result is created, then you can start working. Yeah. So that experience is not good. Okay? That's the synchronous way. Yeah. Then, if you change to asynchronous way, then the experience would be much better. Yeah. Because in asynchronous, the server side needs a few seconds to do processing. The user side, you can do other things, right? Yeah. So you can enter new data, for example. You can enter new data. Okay? Yeah? Because you do not need to wait. You do not need to sync with the server side programs. Okay, so that's the, the reason. So people use the asynchronous way. Okay, yeah. So more convenient. So you can do other things at the client side. Yeah. Yeah. Server side, just to do the processing. Yeah. After it completes, then you see some feedback. You see, something return. So tell you, the processing is completed. Yeah. All right. So that's the reason. Yeah. So then, here I may like to give you 2 examples to show why this AJAX technology so useful, so important to improve the user's experience. Yeah. For example, so you have the experience when you use the search engine. So you type keywords when you want to search some information. Usually when you type keyword, the first few characters, usually you get a list of suggestions, right? Yeah, list of suggestions, Sometimes, you see the word you're typing, so you just select it. Yeah. Yeah. So now this feature, very common. So for all the search engines, so you have this suggestion feature. A question: how do you do the suggestion engine feature? Right? How do you implement suggestion engine? If you need to write a code to do it, how to do it? Yeah. Here, without using AJAX, it's hard to implement that suggestion engine feature. Yeah. Because if you do not use AJAX, then you have to hit enter to send the data to the server. Okay? So when you type, you cannot send the data to the server. So when you type, because you have to hit the enter, then you send the data to the server. Yeah. Okay? So then no suggestion. Yeah. But with AJAX, every time when you type one character, that character already is sent to the server by the JavaScript function. Okay? So the JavaScript function, every time you type one character, it sends that character to the server already. Okay? After the server receive a few characters, the server just search the keywords and try to match the first few characters. So you get a list of suggestions. The server sends back a list of suggestion phrases. Yes, so not just words, the phrases. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Then when you see those phrases, now you can select, one of the one of the phrases in the list to speed up your typing, right? Things like that. Because sometimes you cannot memorize some word or phrases clearly, right? Yeah. So in that situation, so it's very convenient. So you have suggestions. Yeah. But that feature, you have to use the AJAX technology. Otherwise, you cannot. Yeah. Because when you type, before you submit the page, you can already send the data to the server. And the server can send the data back to you. Okay? So that's the first useful example using AJAX. Another example, very useful about the AJAX is Google Map. Okay? Yeah. Think about, on a computer, when you look at a map, you can use your mouse to drag different locations of the map, zoom in, zoom out, to see information, different regions in the map. Think about, how do you get that feature? How do you implement that feature? So you can, with your action, mouse dragging actions, then the corresponding portion of the map is sent to you by the server. How to get that? Yeah. By AJAX. By AJAX. Because when you move your mouse cursor, the coordinates of your mouse is sent to the server already. Okay? Yeah. So after the server side received the mouse cursor location, then it can calculate the corresponding location on the map. Yeah. So then it will send you the map data corresponding to that location, that region. Okay? So then you see the map updated immediately. Okay? Without reloading the page, because when you do the actions on that page, you do not have a chance to reload the page. And you don't want to reload the page, right? Yeah. So you want to stay in the same page. Yeah. But when you stay in the same page, the data communication occurs behind the scene. Okay? So the JavaScript function does the data communication. Yeah. So that's the power of AJAX. Okay, so here I just give you two simple examples. Yeah. All right. Next page, I want to explain how to do it. So the basic idea to write a code doing the AJAX. So here I use the example from W3 schools, show you a simple feature. All right. Yeah. First, in the HTML page, you need to have a HTML element. You want to update it. Yeah, because usually AJAX, when you use AJAX, you update one or more elements on your HTML page. So you need to have a targeting element in the HTML page. Yeah. So here, this is the targeting elements, ID demo. Okay. Yeah. So this div element with ID demo. Yeah. So we want to display content in this element if you click the button. So this button, change content, the user's action, you click the button, change content, then you call a function, JavaScript function. The JavaScript function sends a request to the server. The server side, there is a data processing program, just to return the result, return the data, requested data, send it back to you, back to the JavaScript function. Then the JavaScript function uses the content, return the content to modify the content of the targeting element. That logic, okay? That simple logic. Yeah. Here, so we have this element, targeting element. This targeting element is associated with the JavaScript function, okay? So this JS function. Yeah. Load doc. Yeah. Then we write this load doc JavaScript function, okay? Yeah. So here, this is the old way, okay? Old way. Original old way. The new way, jQuery simplified the AJAX. Yeah. jQuery way much simpler, yeah. Much simpler, yeah. But this old way, to understand, let's start with the old way. So then we move to the jQuery way. All right, so the old way, first you need to create this AJAX HTTP object, JavaScript object. So here you can see XML. Here you see XML. The old way still use the XML object. Yeah. All right. So you just create that object. That object allows you to send the data to the server. Yeah. So you need to have that. Okay. After you have that object, so here this is the object name. Yeah. So then object.unload, you define anonymous function. This is the anonymous function. No name, okay, anonymous function. But you provide a definition of this function. And this function is called immediately, okay? All right, so you provide, yeah. All right, so then, so the definition of this function, yeah, here, yeah. All right, so that's the definition of this unload. All right, then, all right, so you use this function is used to process the data returned from the server. Okay, data returned from the server. Okay, all right, so yeah. Then you use the XHTTP object. You call this function open function. This get, this is the get method. So here you want to use the get method, you use get. If you want to use the post method, you use post. Okay, post or get. Yeah. So then this is the server side. This is the server side data processing file. Okay, so server side data processing file. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So usually you can use Java, you can use PHP. So in our class, we use PHP to do the data processing at the server side. Yeah. Here in this example, so there is no processing here. You just request a text file. So no specific processing needed. You just ask server to return that particular text file. Yeah. The server just sends that text file to you back. Yeah. Yeah. So no processing needed. Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. But usually we want to call a data processing file, so that file will process the data. Okay, do some processing. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So then you send it to the server. Okay, so the server side, yeah, it is called. So one data processing file is called. So when it is called, so you write a code to process the data. Okay, yeah. At the end, if you have the processing result, you need to send the result back. Okay. Send it back to the function that send the request. Original function that send the request, that this function, this load doc function. Okay, this load doc function actually, so here, yeah, yeah, back to this place. Okay, so then after you receive the result, you do the client-side modification in this anonymous function. So you write a code. So this anonymous function, you can treat it as a callback function. Okay? A callback function. Yeah, because you make a call to the server side. So the server side returns the requested data. So then you do the remaining work. So your callback function completes the remaining work at the client side. Okay, so that's the logic. Yeah. So here, this example is the logic. Okay, yeah, yeah. All right. So then, in my new code version, so I use AJAX. So when the user clicks the edit button, yeah, edit button, yeah. So the edit button, you need to request the data from the server side, right? Yeah. So that request, we use a JavaScript function to send that request to the server side. Okay. Then the server side returns the request to the data to our callback function. We have a callback function. Okay. Yeah. So then in our callback function, we modify one particular row to show the data content of that row. So that's the edit feature using this AJAX technology. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So here, if you look at our, so I give you the newer version. If you look at that, you can see a few places we use this AJAX technology, okay? So when you read the code after this class, because I give you the background of AJAX, now you should be able to understand those functions. So why we use that way, right? Yeah, why we use that way, okay? Yeah, all right. Yeah, so let me just stop here. I will post a video, okay? So when you study the sample project, so if you want to understand some code, yeah, so you may need to watch the video to help you understand AJAX, okay? Yeah. All right, so let me stop right here. Yeah. And yeah, question, project 2 assignment. Oh, what kind of CSV file? Yeah, right. Yeah, so for this student, yeah, this student sent me a question, right? Yeah, so, yeah, because CSV, I can show you. The CSV is just called comma separated values. Comma separated values. Okay, that's CSV. Yeah. Yeah. So that means, all right, the format is very simple. You type value 1, comma, value 2, comma, value 3, comma, and so on. Okay, line by line. So each line, one line you use comma to separate. So you use comma as the delimiter to split each row as string array, element. So each value you treat as an element. So that's the comma separated. Okay? Yeah. So CSV, it's a simple format, and it's very popular in industry. Yeah, because this format, simple, easy to handle, but you can use it a lot of places. Yeah. So actually, when you type a text file using this comma separated value format, then by default XML is used to display this file. Okay? If you double click, yeah, because if you use the extension .csv, a file name .csv, then Excel file is automatically associated with this file. If you double click it, Excel is used to open the file, so you see in a spreadsheet. Okay? You see in a spreadsheet. Yeah. Yeah. So here, actually, another place I use the CSV file, because when I export the grade from Canvas, yeah, because Canvas has a grade book, right? For each course, there is a grade book, okay? Yeah. But I need to export it. Yeah. When I work on my local computer, I need to export the data from Canvas. The export format is CSV file, okay? That's the only format. Yeah. So the Canvas automatically generate your grade data using the .csv file. So after I download the .csv file of your grade, then I use Excel to open it. Okay? On my side, when I double click it, Excel open it. Okay? Yeah. So I get your rows, columns of your grades. Yeah. So that's a CSV file. If you use a text editor to open it, you can see comma separated. Okay? So you have rows. Each row, you use comma to separate different columns. That's the CSV file. Okay? So that's simple. Yeah. Yeah. I can, yeah, so if I can upload an example of CSV file, all right? Yeah? So for example, our university database, for example, the student, yeah. We want to enter student data, yeah. So I just use a text editor to prepare several students. I use comma separated format to write information for each student that I store in a text file. .csv, so then, you can see the content of that. Okay? Yeah, that's simple. Yeah. All right, so that's this question. Yeah. That's the CSV file we are talking about. Okay? Yeah. So very popular in industry. Okay? Very popular. Yeah. So it's good for this class, you get experience. Yeah. So you know how to process CSV file. Okay? Yeah. So that will be a good experience for you. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. All right. Columns, tables, expecting for the batch. Here you just use student table, right? Because we have 5 tables. I only ask you to use one of the 5 tables. Yeah. So here, let's say student table. Okay. So look at the student table. What are those columns you need? The student name, the student ID, right? The major, right? So what information do we need for a student table, right? Yeah. So that information. Yeah. So we only do student table. Can you show that screen online, please? Yeah. I can show the screen. Oh yeah. Yeah. I show you the screen online. Yeah. You see the student, right? Yeah. So when you ask me what information, student number, student name, the class, major, but you use comma to separate them. Okay? Yeah. So one student, one row, but use commas to separate different columns. Then another student, another row, comma separate these 4 columns. Yeah. Here we need 4 columns. That format. Okay? Yeah. At the end, we don't need the end of line, we don't need a comma. Okay? At the end of line, we don't need a comma because there is a line change symbol. So we don't need a comma. Okay? Only between 2 columns, we need a comma. Okay? Comma separated values. Yeah. So that's the meaning. Okay? So that's the meaning. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Other questions? Yeah. So that's it. So that's all we